And we're live. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. We're so glad that you could make it with us today. We're just going to wait a few seconds as more of our attendees join. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining. Welcome. Welcome, everyone. So just want to confirm, can you hear me? Can you see us clearly? Okay. So while we wait for a few more people to join us, last minute coffee, I guess. I just want to welcome you all to our webinar. Thank you so much. So I'm Pranavan Naidu, and I'm from the Executive Automats team. Together with me is my colleague Bartosz Beck. And of course, we help customers secure their business processes within the Dynamics environments. And we obviously provide easy to use codeless testing automation solutions to effectively manage their custom security roles and most importantly, reduce their license cost. That being said, we are going to jump straight into today's webinar, and that is Dynamics 365 security roles, create and maintain with no pain. Okay, so before we get into our agenda, I think a few more are joining. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for making the time to be with us. Let's go through a few housekeeping so long. Of course, this is your time, your webinar, and so we want it to be as interactive as possible. So any questions, any comments, please feel free. The chat is open. Hello, everyone. I see some of your chats. And so let's go into our agenda. Again, everyone can hear us or see us. Just let us know. Perfect. Okay. So the first thing that's on our list, of course, is why is security important in Dynamics 365 FSCM? We're going to look at the difference between standard and process-based security in Dynamics 365 FSCM. And we're going to have a lovely case study on licensing optimization, followed by what I look forward to, and of course Bartosz is going to look forward to, is our QA session, which is going to be straight after that. So thank you very much, and I'm going to now hand over to Bartosz, who's going to take us through.
Thank you so much, Preston. Hello, everybody, once again. Today from the studio, we would like to do a few more things. Also invite you to Copenhagen, ERP and Beyond, and AX2G session in Orlando in October, where we're going to host a session regarding the security and also automation, all the benefits of having this organized approach on it. First things first, why security is so important in Dynamics Finance and Supply Chain Management. We came out with, of course, learned lessons throughout different projects, and we see one of the biggest benefits of having organized security done with an approach which is more holistic, more global. You are reducing drastically the license cost. We're going to talk about a little bit later on the case study we've done with company in London on finance supply chain management. So this is yet to come, but you are able to decrease the cost drastically. The license level, the license cost you have to pay is calculated based on your access very often. So this will bring you the idea how we can actually manage quickly these security projects. And from the biggest danger that the security project can be extended or it can take months or years, actually 6 months plus or years time to deliver. With this approach, you are able to deliver that in a 1.5 month, 2 months time or more, depending, of course, on the size of the organization. But these are approaches which are very beneficial. So aside of the benefit of licensing cost, you've got direct impact on the learning curve and possible user mistakes. What exactly does it mean? This means that if you're going to optimize your user interface, if you're going to minimize number of functionalities that users are seeing on the interface, you are helping them learn Dynamics itself. The ERPs are much complicated than ever before. And to help those users understand, make less mistakes, be more effective, having a precise security roles will just make them learn quicker. Plus, they will make less mistakes around the system itself. Data security, of course, in the world where we've got GDPR and a lot of different problems or possible dangers that are waiting for us, it is good to have organized security because you are just securing your data. So data security, another aspect you can gain as a benefit, and the system stability. From the perspective of system itself, we've seen problems from the testing perspective that the company was facing a significant production issues due to the fact that Microsoft just updated one of the security roles, and users were able to do a transactions which was practically not prepared, or simply saying they had too much access, making confusion, making some transactions with a type which were not done before, just because there was an update to the standard role and users were updated. The users were also updated. This also has direct impact on SOX compliance. So if you're going to utilize standard, not only you're going to pay more, you are able to basically make some significant issues on the environment. Let's jump forward. Standard process, standard versus process based security creation. I've prepared for you a Miro graph which will, based on example, show you a bit more. Let me share the screen with you. Okay, Miro, sure. And this is a quite of a example of two different approaches: standard role usage, or on the right hand side we've got a custom role. So on the left hand side you see Jackie. This is an example of a sales representative, and Hari on the right side. They've got the same responsibilities, 5 processes only. Left hand side we are using the sales representative role, which has over 2,000 entry points applied to that role. On the right hand side, this was recorded, which means that we recorded process of sales, of customer creation, of sales confirmation, of release product view, and direct delivery. So we had 5 different processes as a source for entry points for the security context. And we were able to estimate from that 21 entry points. So you've got practically a percentage of what you need actually versus what you are giving with standard. This also means that for those over 2,000 entry points, you will pay, and this might drag you into another bracket of license level, and you will simply pay more for overall licensing. And having in mind the optimization of the user interface, this is the interface of the user, of this sales representative with the standard role, and this is the interface of person who is optimized from the user perspective. Take a look how many buttons the person has. Of course, this might be confusing. This might just create much more issues. And of course, for all of those items on the top of the ribbon, if they are by some accident dragging you up to the basic level of the licensing, you will simply pay more for the license itself. So that's the very simple story. Of course, we just want to give you a concept, a feeling of what you can get and what is the benefit, or what is the actual danger of utilization of the standard ones. But all of these elements we can learn about on another session, or on just discussion after this webinar. And also, please write as many questions as you've got, because on the Q&A we'll be able to address them to help you out understand the security aspect of Dynamics. So that's regarding the story of the differences. And I've prepared for you one nice graph which helps understand how the process approach looks like from the perspective of starting the project. If you think about security and you would like to deliver quickly the project, not in a month's time, we are always starting from the process distribution and process identification, which means we need to create some kind of a graph which shows your organization structure with an idea what specific process is handled by what specific person. Then for one person, we are trying to minimize number of rows. So ideally, one person, one row, or one row for like a global approach of the position plus local rows, which will help you out with maintenance later on and extensions and then rollouts throughout the global multi-entity companies. And when you've got your process distribution against your hierarchy, you are able to start recording these processes. This means that you are using either executive automats if you are benefiting from the executive family products, or you are utilizing task recorder as the source of the data. And when you've got these processes recorded, you are proceeding to conversion to security, which means that you are taking this specific process you've identified, recorded that process, and you are extracting the security context out of it to build perfectly matching duty for that process. Then we are doing the first level check, which means that we are verifying for the first time if they meet the requirement, if this is enough quality that the user is capable of doing what they are intended to do. Then we've got the UAT security. So very often we are performing a workshop with the end user. So they are just approving, the subject matter expert is approving that they've got enough access to perform the daily activities. And if they're going to identify the gaps, we are, of course, reiterating and identifying gaps, covering those gaps with additional security recording. Then this whole layer of security is saved on another environment. We call it, again, UAT security or dev security, where we are storing that, where we are securing these elements to prevent something like modification of security in production and to have reliable source, one reliable source. Of course, when you've built that by one row, then you can do to switch the next position. So you're circling back until you're going to cover all positions and they got perfect matching, perfect process distribution. Let's jump back to the slide itself. Case study about license optimization. And this is something we are proud of, and we were collaborating with this customer for about 2.5 months, where they've got quite a bit of learning curve about the application. They had to allocate resources, so it could be quicker. But within 1.5 months after they started, they were able to decrease 12,000 licenses cost per month, delivering over 100,000 euros yearly savings, just because they've identified that the warehouse row was actually treated as the most with the most expensive license for those people, and they've got significant number of workers in the warehouse, which was actually dragging so highly that value. Thanks to that license verification and report they did, and then rebuilding of that row, they saved. And due to the fact that they've got so many warehouse workers, they are right now going down the ladder with another rows doing the same for sales, for purchases, for accountancy. Of course, accountancy is questionable because most likely they are practically always they've got the biggest license, so it is hard to optimize that. But the previous one, sales, there might be possibility for you to make some savings. And we would like to recommend always stand from the position that you've got this vision on all positions in the organization, and you are trying to reach those most frequent ones. And of course, different industry, that you can have different ones as the most frequent. But these ones, which are most frequent, will generate you quick savings, and then down the ladder, you will just you'll be able to distribute that across the organization. Yeah, trial. This is something which you can get on your environment. This is very quick. These are just deployable packages. So we are sending you the package. You've got 2 weeks time. You can browse through this. We've got the team of consultants who can help you out with those starting points. So if you are curious, how does it look like? We can deploy the application, sit down with you, create one row as an example. So you're going to get the feeling how exactly it looks like and what are the benefits exactly on your system. And then you're able actually to work with that row later on the production even. So this is something which we are highly inviting you. Our team will put the link on the chat so you can jump in into the scheduler where we can book the trial, and then we can start doing a little bit more exercises together. And now the showcase time. So I'd like to invite you to the application itself. We're gonna jump to executive automats for security. So let me share once again the screen with the application itself. All right. So as I was mentioning, the executive automats for security setup is the application which is simply placed in the system administration module. And you've got in here the basic view on your organization. We've got in here nice presets. An example, you can place your organization on the left-hand side. So we've got different departments, and underneath department, I've got different people, head of the finances, then fixed assets, and underneath each of those positions, we are building specific processes they handle. So simply this means that fixed asset clerk is handling 5 processes along. So out of these processes which were recorded, we were able to extract specific entry points. So precise access, what I need to have to perform that specific activity. So this sums up as a number of different duties. So for one process, I've got one duty. And of course, you can take different approaches, but if you are having on a very long run an idea to implement SOX compliance, the segregation of duties, this might be very effective because then it will be easier for you to manage this. And of course, even if you don't want to use SOD in a full scale and you would like to do some basic approach, again, this might be effective. If you don't know about this SOD, we can also help you out with some knowledge about that. So browsing further, we've got head of the HR and another employees which are handling different processes. So what we did, we simply identified that specific onboarding specialist is handling 5 processes. So we recorded 5 of these processes as executive automate scripts. Alternatively, you can do that by task recording. And then you are loading here by load from task recording or load from executive automates that process. I've got also in here some test data. So let me jump into my task recordings. And I've got in here some recordings we've done with one of the clients. And I can take the create purchase order status and approval. And after loading that, I can include table permissions. I can include also controls permissions. And the onboarding specialist will be extended by a new process, which is so-called AP, accounts payable purchase creation with status. System is loading the file, extracting the information, and then we'll be able to create out of that a duty. And now we've got the process. It is implemented here, and I have information that to perform this specific activity, this specific process, I need those 4 entry points, so 4 items. And now I can simply create a duty for that specific process, and I can call this duty for PO creation, PPO create. Okay. Duty will be created. In here, we're going to have information about the duty itself. And this all can be then saved into the onboard SPC role, which is also in the security configuration. So if you're going to browse the security configuration, you're going to see that the new duty is created. And I've got objects for publishing as I was modifying the overall role itself. So now we can simply publish it and then move along to verification. So we can log in as that person, make a verification, and if this is adequate, that this is exactly to what we need to perform the process, and move forward to another business process. What else do you have in the application? So along of different projects we were doing on the security. Oh, uh, not publish them now. Let's go to the sales. So one of the biggest problems we were facing on different security project is that it is hard to identify what exact menu item and entry point is behind a specific control. And this is a so critical aspect that the standard of the system doesn't give you the full context. And if I don't have any extension and I would like to verify, or as an administrator, I want to give access to my user possibility to do the confirmation, I can use form information, so standard functionality here. And the standard will tell me it is a sales table list page. And if you're going to add this, this will be not adequate, and you will actually not add access to the sales confirmation. This is not true. Simply, system is giving you information about just the whole context where it lays on that one form. And actually, we've built some extensions into the standard. So just by clicking, you are able to recognize what exact entry point is behind that. So I'm able to click here even more and understand what else is on that form. So now, by easily understandable labels, I can browse what else I would like to add to my role. So we can imagine a situation where a new employee comes. Actually, this will be a new position, and we need to build a custom role for that person. We can browse through different forms, and just by easy understandable labels, we can pick what I need for that role and create that. This is alternative element, of course, if we're gonna have situation where we know what process will be handled, but there is a new area, new operations that we want to sort of pick just few singular elements instead of recording whole process again. So this is a different approach. This is the ease of the maintenance, or the next step after you've got your security layer. It will help you out with the maintenance itself. So when you've identified these exact elements, you are actually able to add them exactly straight to the duty that you've created, or actually to the line which refers to process, and then publish the process, so publish the duty, publish the row, and go with the verification. So that's the another functionality. Plus, we went through the newest licensing model of Microsoft, and we actually had some problems with identifying and understanding this based on the standard reporting. So we decided to build our own calculations, which are helping you with the actual cost of the licenses, or we can say the total cost of the ownership of the application itself. So if you're going to go here to the security summary and you're going to apply your licenses level to each of, basically based on the pricing, you're going to apply these different licenses level. You'll be able to calculate exactly what is the TCO of licenses of your Dynamics, or TCO of your Dynamics itself. Plus, you'll be able to identify what exact specific license is applied to the user. And this view can give you an understanding on the high level what license is applied. Plus, this can give you some divergence. You are able to find some discrepancy that basically this sales guy shouldn't have a finance basic license plus SCM and commerce attachment, because this is nonsense. So this warehouse worker should have just a team member or an activity license instead. So by filtering and finding those exceptions, you are simply making savings. So this is the high level view. And on the security summary, this is something more as a root cause analysis. This gives me an idea if I'm going to have a role, which is a basic SCM, I can find out what specific menu items are applied and what they are, what kind of level they've got. So you are able to find the exact role, which is hiring, or which is bringing your user to the very expensive license, and make a root cause analysis why this role is so expensive by extraction of the element on the right hand side. So this is to be done on the roles level, on the duties level, and the privileges level. What else? We also focus a little bit on the security analysis from the perspective of the GDPR, because a lot of problems were happening now. The European Union is giving a lot of not penal we can say penalties, or you have to pay the fine for not applying the GDPR policy, or basically if you're going to have some data extortions, it will be quite hard for you to defend. So to prevent that, and then to find out who else might be the cause, or potentially who else can steal the data from the system, you are able to use this cross-checking functionality. This cross-checking works like that. Let's say Alicia, our finance manager, just did some data defraudation, and I would like to verify what kind of permissions Alicia has and who else is carrying the same role, so I can find out, all right, Alicia has actually 5 roles. Out of those 5 roles, actually the purchase agent is the role which was the problem in our organization. And I can see that also Sarah has the same role applied. So potentially I can verify if that person has all what they need, or what she should have to perform the duty, her duty, and what else how I can secure myself to make sure that this will be not another exception which will make a data defraudation. Of course, there are some roles which are applied very broadly, like employee or system user, but in some cases, some organizations, they've got one role which is applied practically everywhere. So those cross-checking can be very effective. All right, let me come back here. So to recap a little bit, this is the major cockpit where you've got your all roles, all positions in your organization, with your tree view of what how your organization looks like. You are able to use task recorder. You are able to use executive automats if you've got your test cases recorded. You are able to use existing roles, duties, and privileges. But this is not the super recommendation, as standard is basically created for standard activities, and every organization is having some kind of a specifics which will not be for which the standard will be not a best choice. It will be not applicable, or it will be best very expensive. And I think, as a starting point, to give you the feeling of the security access, to give you the chance to learn more, I think we'll be able now to move to the Q&A section, where we would love to respond on all your questions. So yeah, Preston, feel free to take over the screen. And thank you so much for having me here for doing the showcase. And I hope that we'll have more questions on the chat to help you understand more, or clarify some more questions, some material that you defined.
All right. Thank you so much, Bart. Really, really great and informative session there. So, welcome everyone on the QA time. Of course, we'd love to have all of your questions. Also, whilst you're on our webinar, I'd love for you guys to please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Of course, there's some great videos there as well for you to check out as well. I see a question here from Christian. I'll go ahead and bring that up. So Christian has asked, the tool for cross-checking is coming from your tools. I assume that's
Exactly, yes. This is one of the feature. So you can say that you've got the cross-checking, you've got the licensing calculation or analysis, the root cause analysis for licenses level as well, and the whole cockpit for creation and extensions for security maintenance, which are added to the standard. So there are different places where we've got our extensions in the system.
okay. Brilliant. Thank you. All right. Let's look any other questions here. a bunch of you have greeted. Hello, hello, everyone. Um, all right, and also I think just to say again, we are offering a completely free trial of security setup. So you guys can have a look at that link that's in the comments right now. So feel free to check that out. Of course, it's a 2 week time where you get a deployment package sent to you. You guys can play around with that and obviously have a feel of the tool. Aha, okay. There's another question from Waldo Borta. Let's just say, does this tool work with ISVs?
Yes, indeed, it works. Everything which is in Dynamics can be recorded based on EA or task recorder and can be extracted. So everything that you've got on your Dynamics finance and operations can be converted to the process and then to the security row itself.
Perfect, thank you. All right, and Christian has asked a list of our pricing for the product. Christian, we will be sharing our or my contact in a little bit, so feel free to just pop me a mail and we can have a lovely call to talk about that.
Yeah.
Uh, So yeah, thank you. Okay, perfect. Let's see if we have any more questions. Okay, Agnieszka. Hello, Agnieszka. So unfortunately not going to say surname. But Agnieszka has asked, what about the code permissions and limitations to field development in the system?
Hmm. Okay, so code permissions, which are added to buttons, can be handled definitely because they are also extracted out of the form context. So this is a possibility. You can extract code permissions out of the forms. System is actually doing that for you. The field level sort of limitation, if you would like to do an XDSs, this is something you have to do on the top. Yeah, so this is something you are adding after you're going to do the full project of security. You have to do that manually. Unfortunately, this is something we are not yet supporting. So it is even quite impossible due to the fact that you don't have such easy access to the AOT as previously on AX2012. We didn't have the chance, or right now the concept how to match those 2 points. But that's the possibility to use definitely code permissions, and we can help you out with XDSs if that's very important for you.
Thank you. And our next question is from Mine. Sorry. Hi, you mentioned using task recording within the tool to extract the security required for a task or job. I presume this can be done without your tool too.
Sure. I mean, if you're gonna use task recording only and you would like to use it in a standard method only, what you're gonna get a non-full vision of the process. You will not have much more of practically display items. The standard mechanism which system is having, they are not going so deep as we are. They are not analyzing the context. So simply saying there is no standard easy function to use, which will give you the possibility to convert your business process into the duty or privilege. Plus, even if you're going to extract, you will again need to have Visual Studio license and browsing through the Visual Studio to find out the entry points on the way. And we can actually show you on few examples how what is the difference between standard extraction, which is an unfinished concept, I would say, which needs a bit more enhancements to be workable solution.
Mhm. Right. Okay, and Vinicius has asked, do you advise to use one duty per role, and this duty should avoid to be shared to other roles for better maintenance?
Um, Okay, one duty for role. I would say one role for position, and not necessarily one duty per role. It could be you can share one duty across multiple roles, but this only if organization, I mean, if the business will agree on this, because these are business decisions. um, these are the business decisions you have to take, that should we share, is the process shared, it will never evolve. Will the process evolve in different directions on different positions? If no, then definitely you can use one duty for one process which is in a few rows. If not, if you're going to say that one process can evolve, that it will be different for everybody, then I would say it is better to record sales creation for sales representative and sales creation for pricing manager, because we might have those differences. And um, for maintenance, if you're going to have good naming convention, it will be very easy for the maintenance, um, because the number of the entry points, if you're trying to if you're trying to work with the standard, and you're going to see in the duty few hundred elements, the first thing you're going to do a significant number of analysis, what exactly is doing these changes, whereas the maintenance on the granular level of the duty, which is tailored, it will be much more effective. And I think that the maintenance, when you have this process based approach, is something which can't be compared with what you can have in standard. I mean, definitely, Vinicius, feel free to reach out to us. We can elaborate a little bit more, because this is something which can be tailored for the organization. There are some just questions or decisions to be taken to identify how the process can evolve and how they are fluctuating, to make sure that you will limit number of modifications to them.
Okay, I hope that answers your question. Thank you so much, Vinicius, for your question. And we have Mohan, who asks, does this tool support SOX compliance requirements? If so, how does it work?
Sure, we are helping with the SOX compliance in a way that we are helping you identify and understand what you've got in the duties. The problem what companies are struggling with is that they don't know what exactly in the duty is, because they were never building that duty. They are just picking an element which is supposed to do the job. When you've got your matrix of SOs, of segregation of duty, where you are making those exceptions, what can't be added in the same moment with something else, then you are actually comparing some unknown bottomless bags with some elements that you don't know what they consist of, and this is hard to build that matrix. So how we are helping with the organization, with organized approach and identification, the processes and extraction, we are helping you build more precise and clear SOX compliance. We don't have any algorithm or mechanism which will build the matrix for you, but we've got some templates of SOX which can help you out building them. So we don't have automation about this, unfortunately.
Brilliant. So before we go to a next question, I just want to say thanks, Mene. You have asked about showing the differences between the tool and the standard functionality. We'd love to actually have this done for you. We offer, of course, a demo session, which you can obviously just be in contact with us. So you'll get our contact details in a short while. We can set that up for you and your team. Yeah. All right. Next question we have from right Sadi said. Let's say there we go. All right. Next question is: does this tool allow users to add, change permissions to their roles?
Yes, but not exactly the users themselves. They need to have the system admin and somebody who has access to the module. And the module is in the system administration, so probably it will be accessible only for some technicians or some audit people which are having or should have access to it. But that's a possibility. You can do that.
Sure. Thank you. All right. And then, okay, we've also got uh, WD Vima, who is asked to demo the difference between tool and the standard version. But I think you have one, the first slide that you started off with. If you can maybe just bring that up to show the comparison between the roles, maybe that would be helpful.
I mean, this was something different, Preston. The difference, yeah, I will need to make one task recording for you to do that. Maybe not for this session. We can plan another session on the our schedule of security setup where we're going to give you an example. So yeah, please subscribe to our channel. You're going to see soon another video where we're going to do that comparison. With a huge pleasure, we can do that for you and explain this more in detail.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Okay, and Mohan, yes, my phone number will be coming up very soon, so you'll get all our contact details, email address, and oh, there we go. It's over here, and you'll get our link as well, so you can just book a quick call, and we'll have a chat. So yeah. Okay. Any more questions? Let's just see comments. Thank you so much for liking the page, everything. Ah, there we go. So you'll see my link here. And I think there's one. Oh, there we go. One question from Abdul. Does this tool override printer, I think, root, root or reinstall security role?
I don't know this one, to be honest. Override printable. Abdul, I think we might need to discuss this more detail because I don't know if you would like to do. You would like to hide some elements which are given from the standard system user, or what exactly is the road installer, printer road installer. But I think this could be very curious, very interesting for us.
Yeah, great question. Thank you so much, Abdul. All right, let's just see any more questions we have. There we go. Enrico has asked, have you tried your custom security privilege to access some module on Microsoft Dynamics apps, Android version parenthesis?
Mm, Actually, not. We haven't tried that on this. But I think we might need to give understand a little bit more context. We are in the finance and operations, or FSCM. I don't know what exactly other apps you've got in mind, because the Android, let's say the WHS warehouse device, which is an Android application. This one has a specific security modular. So, and this is something else which you have in the settings. So this one we don't support. And if there's something else, yeah, I'm curious to see how we can help you out. And I see that Abdul responded to us with the installation printer. It is used for installation.
Okay, Enrico says it's Microsoft Finance and Operations.
Okay, so that should be possible. We just need to see exactly the place, probably. This is for installation of printer admin user. If you've got Abdul, if you've got some elements, we can say that the principle is that if the menu item is there and you would like to identify what is behind the button, and you would like to make the process to set those printers, let's say, and you would like to make out of this process duty, this will be possible. If you would like to override this based on deletion of system user standards, this might be limited by standard of Microsoft. because not every element can be deleted from the standard, but we can try to create another system using row which will have those of overrides. So I think the question is very specific. So to not make your confusion, I would advise to have a quick session with us so we can overview that.
Okay. I hope that answers your question, Abdul, and of course, thank you, Enrico, as well. We look forward to having contact with you as well. So, any more questions? Let's see here. Okay, Mene has shared with us. Absolute pleasure, Enrico. So, DRA, Dynamics Routing Agent or Routing Agent, as American,
Mhm.
i.e., network printer router that sits outside Dynamics but polls it.
Hmm. Yeah,
Interesting.
this is something we haven't done yet, so we will need to check the routing agents. Yeah.
Okay, sure.
Does the tool exist for 2012 R3? Okay, that's a very nice question. The tool exists for 2012 R3. This is a different infrastructure. I mean, the finance and operations is something totally different comparing to 2012 from the infrastructure perspective and basically presence on the website and 2012. The tool itself for 2012 has the same concepts. Most of the functionalities are quite the same. But in finance and operations, we had a little bit more power and functions. So we are doing much more there. Unfortunately, the 2012 security layer can't be transferred to FNO due to those security differences. You can use, of course, all the structure and all processes distribution to make the transfer easy. I mean, the transfer by recreating that quite easy, but you can't take the layer of 2012 and put it in FNO, unfortunately.
Okay. All right. Perfect. So let's just see any more questions from outside. Okay, thank you, Menedos. This was in response to Abdul's question.
Sounds good. Yeah, I think if we've responded all, we're also able to follow up to you with. You can follow up to us on the mail, which you see on the screen, and we'll be super happy to, to show you guys on examples on your system how it works. So this will be even more clear how you can gain some benefits from organized security in Dynamics.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so I'll just look. Any more questions? Any comments? If we haven't been able to manage or answer these right now, definitely please reach out to us. Our team would love to get on a call with you and help where we can. So, on that note, I think we will say goodbye and conclude for today, our webinar. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Take care. Bye.